What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys are having a great Christmas Eve and having a better Christmas lined up for you guys. And hopefully the season hasn't been too stressful for everybody. Remember, it's about giving, not receiving. Personally, I'm in my Christmas red blanket here, trying to keep me warm as I'm fighting off still a little bit of a cold. So I do sound a little bit off. So hopefully I apologize for that. And hopefully it sounds fine. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the deck of fate for Belz the Reckoner, whether it's worth doing, how best to navigate it. Personally, I think this event is actually not bad, giving people some options that maybe are not participating in the Lady Noel fusion, for example. At least it gives people something to do over the holidays. But yeah, we'll talk about all those details in this video. So let's jump right into it. All right, so first things first, let's jump into the shop. We have a free little pack here, Christmas pack. Usually every year Plarium gives us a Christmas pack. This year it does seem a little bit more watered down. In the past, it's always usually including one sacred shard. Depends what they give with it. Last year, I believe it was with a primal shard instead of the prism crystal. Personally, I think I would rather have, it's hard to say because the prism crystal gives you a 6% chance at a legendary, but the primal shard gives you a chance at a mythical, although much lower chance. So it's kind of hard to say. It's about the same. Also, a legendary book usually gets offered as well. This year we see it omitted from the free gift, so I'm going to claim it here. Let's see, it goes straight into your, where does it go? Received. There it is. Okay, sorry. So yeah, we got 100 days to pick it up. So all good over there, just so you guys know. Unfortunately, there was no way to really save the crystals. Sometimes you might want it to save the 35 crystals for another pool if you're not interested in this pool, for example. But the gift timer actually ends 1 hour before the event timer. So make sure you guys don't do anything too cheeky with the free login pack. Just pick it up and then you guys get a free pull at least. So it's not all bad. All right, so let's jump into the deck of fate. So the deck of fate here is happening. It's going to end. It's a 3-day event. It includes, as I predicted, actually, dungeon diving and getting champions. But this time is actually from any source. So this is actually a champ chase version, not a summon rush version. I mentioned in my previous video about Belz the Reckoner in this event that it is possible that it could be a champ chase style. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think this is kind of a negative because we do have a champion chase coming in a couple days, and it's for the Lady Noel fusion. So now we have 2 champion chases basically back to back. Obviously, why is this important? A summon rush and a champion chase, they can utilize different shards more efficiently. So for summon rush, usually you utilize the big shards, whereas champion chase, usually you utilize the smaller shard. In this case, to be more efficient, you have to use basically the same shards for both, right? Or is that the way? So anyways, let's jump into the details of this. So first, let's check out the rewards that we get from the deck of fate. And yeah, just a quick glance over here. It looks pretty stingy, to be honest. We get a legendary book. Like if you look at this as a summon rush, you would be pretty disappointed if you maxed out your summon rush and you got a 5-star chicken, a barrel, and 1 book. So think about it that way. These are very, very disappointing rewards. And of course you get the champion at the end. So let's jump into this part. This part I never really put too much stock into. It looks like they don't have any of the super high value. Well, they have the book, but they don't have like a sacred shard or the big rock here. Obviously the book is pretty high value, but otherwise it looks pretty watered down as well. And then as I mentioned, it's going to be dungeon diving, so getting artifacts and then getting champions. So let's have a look at the details here. I broke down the math and then we can go over whether this is actually worth doing or not. All right, so I did the math here a little bit just to break down the total cost of this event. So you see here 40,000 points for the entire deck. We have to assume it's going to cost us 40,000 points if we want to guarantee ourselves the champion. Therefore, it's a guarantee, right? If you don't have the necessary points to get all the fragments, then this is a huge waste of resources. unless you don't really care about this champion at all and you just want to pull shards for whatever reason. But if you're going for a champion, you have to make sure that you get 100% of the fragments. You can't bank on being able to buy the fragments, for example. So you have to be prepared for that. So what is the total cost of this champion? So in terms of ancient shards, usually ancient shards are really good for these chase style events. Here it's actually 243 ancients worth of pulls just to, on average, of course, just to reach 40,000 total deck points. That's actually really, really expensive in terms of total spend just to get one champion. If you recall previously, at the most expensive, I think ancient champion or ancient guarantee champion was 180 shards. So here, if you were to do it strictly with ancient shards, it's going to cost you 240, which makes it a really, really not so good deal, to be honest. Similarly, it can be said about the voids as well. If you just wanted to spend voids against this champion, 131, which is far exceeding any of the previous void guarantees. Almost 25 sacred shards, which is super expensive as well. And then 56 primal shards to get all 40,000 points. So this is based on averages here, so you guys can check my math. Maybe my math is wrong. But basically the values that Plarium attributed to getting the rare, epic, and legendaries basically are quite low, and then basically requires you to spend a ton of shards to get whatever point total you need to get for the Deck of Fate. So it's actually quite expensive. So moving on to the Sacred Shards, it's going to be 25 Sacred Shards, like I said, very, very expensive for a guarantee champion event. Yeah, if you convert these over to normal champion chase points, on a non-boosted, these are non-boosted averages. So for an ancient shard, you expect about 32 points. For non-boosted, void 106, 265 from sacred, and primals 106. These are like I said, non-boosted rates. In terms of total chase points that you're spending, that you're basically giving up on, you're about 14,000 if you spend the voids. So can you max out a champion chase with the amount that you spend here? No, you can't. So keep that in mind when you guys are spending your shards for the deck versus a normal champion chase. And then, of course, factoring in how much rewards you can actually get. So, for example, if you're not maxing out a champion chase, you're probably not going to get all the Lego books. You're not going to get the mythical book, whatever. So, in that regards, this deck is actually not too bad in terms of what you're receiving back. But what you have to spend is significantly worse than the best case scenario, which is basically spending these shards during 2x events, for example. So I just want to get that out of the way, basically saying that this event is not as good as it seems, even though it provides some flexibility for people that want to do this event. The chase style gives more flexibility, like I said, but it will interfere with the Lady Noel champion chase because there's 2 champion chases basically this week. So for example, if you were saving Sir Nicholas for Lady Noel, let's have a look here. I'll explain that a little bit. So you have about 2 days to collect Sir Nicholas, right? You have 2 days to collect him. The champion chase doesn't start for 3 days. So basically this event, this Sir Nicholas will just be hanging out here in limbo for a day. However, usually what happens is when these events end, the rewards will still be basically just sitting in limbo for a little bit. And then as the complete event expires, all your rewards should go into your inbox. And then you can collect them at whatever date you want. So for example, like my coins end up here because I didn't collect them. These are my quest coins, for example. But in this case, if Sir Nick ends up in your inbox, you don't get champion chase points for him. So it is a bit of a risk if you want to save Sir Nicholas for the champion chase. I'm not 100% sure if the timing lines up, but I think personally I would probably pull him for this Deck of Fate event if you were planning to do both, just because the Deck of Fate event seemingly is quite expensive in terms of how much overall summons you actually need to do. Also keep in mind that you could also pull the epics and rares at this time to get points for them as well. You see here I have 2,060 points. So another good habit you guys can also have is basically don't collect your champions. So for example, you see here, I didn't collect her. I didn't collect the epic from the summon rush. And when the summon rush event expired, you see here that the event will disappear in 16.3 hours, for example. I had the summon rush laid out here, and then once the event expired, I got the points for the epic and the rare, and that went into this deck of fate. So it's just a good habit to put yourself into so you guys can get more points. So I basically start off the event with 2060 points right away. Another example is right here. I don't collect the rare, but I'll probably collect the rare right now just to get the points for them. Like I said, once they hit your inbox, they no longer give you points. They no longer give you points. So if the ninjas were in your inbox and then you collected them from your inbox, you won't get points for those because the points would have happened when they enter your inbox. All right, but the good thing about this event that makes it a little bit more appealing is that there is a secondary part to this event. So there is a dungeon diving event portion. So I did the quick breakdown here. So if you want to do the event fully with dungeon diver points, for example, have the point breakdown here. 16 and 20 will be your best bet. They give you the most points per energy, 0.85 points per energy. 24 gives you 0.79 points per energy, 25 0.7, and then hard 10 gives you 0.77 points per energy. If you want to do the whole deck with just energy, it's going to take you around 50,000 energy to get this champion. It's a little bit expensive for sure. So I definitely recommend pulling shards. There is a boosted primal rate right now. I did factor that into my calculations. So there's a boosted primal rate. Try to pull whatever other champions you have, especially for the fusion, the rare. Fuse the epics if you guys can. Fuse broad balls, for example, and then supplement all of this with some dungeon runs. So basically, every 1,000 energy you put into dungeons, you're going to get back about 3/4 of that. So about 750 to 800 points back. It's not a great conversion, and it's going to take a lot of energy over only 3 days. So it's actually not even a long event, but it's going to help alleviate some of the pressure on the shards, off the shards. And of course, like I said, if you guys have the fusion epics, use those up. Make sure you guys pick up the extra points there. Unfortunately, you guys will need to weigh whether you want to do the Noel fusion chase, if you guys are struggling with that, of course, Noel fusion chase, or if you guys want to get this Belz the Reckoner, to be honest. But I think at this point, if you committed to Noel, I think you probably go for Noel because she is she's a void legendary, and you guys came all this way. Fuse whatever pieces you can during this Belz Deck of Fate event, get those points, get some low-hanging rewards, and then just call it a day. Belz is not going to be like a game-changing champion for most people. It's a block buff champion, which is good and needed for Hydra, but he can be replaced pretty easily with like Ugo. Although the comparison here isn't entirely fair because Belz actually deals some damage that Ugo can't. So it depends, right? AoE, decreased defense, pretty important that Ugo brings, but Belz brings some damage that Ugo can't really produce. So it's kind of up to you whether it's more important or not, or what kind of flexibility you have with your roster. But I think if you committed to Noel up to this point, then you just stick with her and go for that. And then just basically take this as, another midweek event that doesn't really relate to you. Personally, I'll be pulling for Belz. You can pull your remnants as well. I'm going to be pulling all my primal shards. I only got 10. It's not a lot. And then, ideally, I wanted just to pull like sacred shards, but yeah, it depends. I'll mix and match some of my shards just to make sure I'd get the deck going. But yeah, it's a pretty expensive event. I think it's unless my math is totally wrong or out to lunch, I think it's a pretty expensive one. Anyways, you guys are gonna have a quick look at the math again. Like I said, I did factor in the boost on the primals here. So I got the 1% for the mythical, 2% for the legendary, bigger percentage for the epic. So it is factored in here. But yeah, It's pretty expensive, 25 sacred shards for this champion with dungeon divers mixed in. Dungeon divers not going to give you the best amount of points anyways. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it provided you guys with some information to make some educated decisions. Like I said, guys, develop those habits where you guys can maximize some of your points. If you guys are doing your prism summons, it kind of makes sense to do it during the deck if you're going for Belz. If you're not going for Belz, pull your prisms during the champion chase that's coming in the next couple of days. Also, I want to bring attention here to the calendar again, just before we're done, since we've had a lot of questions about the scheduling of all these events. So the Yuletide Titan event, this is the one for Sir Nicholas. It actually ends on the 26th, right, at 3 a.m. here. Keep that in mind. This, the way you access these times through Google Calendar is basically activate the calendar, and then you can just click this link here, and it says Google. It'll open up a Google Events tab, and it gives you the more, detailed time of it. But yeah, so you have the Sir Nick event ending on the 26th at 3 a.m. That's my local standard. And then you have the Deck of Fate ending on the 27th at 12 a.m. So about 21 hours later. So you can definitely save and pull Sir Nick during the deck, which I think most people probably will do, which makes sense. I think some people were trying to save Sir Nick for the Lady Noel. It's no guarantee because Lady Noel's champion chase starts on the 30th at 12 a.m. So if Sir Nick's event ends on the 26th at 3 a.m., I don't think it's likely that Sir Nick will be available. Oh, sorry. She starts on the 27th at 12 a.m. So Sir Nick, 26th, 3 a.m., 27th, 12 a.m. So about 21 hours later. It's possible that you can collect Sir Nick for the Lady Noel champion chase. But it's a bit of a risk, right? Like if the timing doesn't match up, then Sir Nick just goes to your inbox and then you don't get the points for him. So it's a little bit of a, you got to weigh it out here, right? But I think the timing should work if you wanted to do this. Personally, I'm just going to pull Sir Nick for the Deck of Fate. And then, yeah, so the Deck of Fate here, another thing that you guys want to keep in mind is that this ends on the 27th at 12 o'clock. Same thing with the Primal Boost. The Primal Boost ends on the same time as the Deck of Fate. And the Deck of Fate and the Primal Boost do not overlap with the Champion Chase. So some people were asking whether they overlap. It says they do not. 27-12 start for the Champion Chase. 27-12 end for the Deck of Fate. Okay, guys? So make sure that's 100% clear for you guys. They don't overlap. Don't do anything cheeky or extra smart there. View them as completely separate events. Anyways, guys, sorry about that extended ending there. Hopefully you guys have a great, like I said, Christmas Eve. Hopefully you guys have a great Christmas if I don't catch you guys tomorrow or if I don't make a video tomorrow. But I will be pulling some shards through the holidays, I think. Maybe for tomorrow, I think. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was informative. Thanks for your time. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.